if you may recall, I've said one of my thematic areas is youth empowerment.
All right.
And I've led by example in this area. Using my personal resources in the past, I've taken almost 1,000 youth drawn from all the 5 wards of Kibra constituency for driving school licenses, training. And they are now actually graduates in that line. They are in the job market and also gainfully employed.
That's an initiative that you yourself
Yes, using my personal resources. Yeah, between 2014 and 2016 I did that. I was at one of the foreign missions the other day for some business. And I met this young man who told me, Eliud, do you remember me? I said, no, not quite. And he told me that I'm actually the driver to the ambassador here. Oh. And he told me that actually I got my driving license through your initiative, driving school initiative. And actually I'm proud of this because when you see somebody who has benefited from your initiative being in gainful employment and also now being able to help others, perhaps the younger siblings, that to me is positive. That's why I'm talking of transformative agenda, changing lives of the people directly. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, by the way, is that we have been assuming that once we have economic growth at the national level, it will translate into an improvement or a rise in the standards of the living of the people. Economic growth is different from economic development. You may have economic growth, but there is no improvement in the welfare of the people. That is why I'm not going to wait for trickle-down effect from the national level. I want to use a bottoms approach, where my intervention is direct to the people by way of economic empowerment. And I believe this actually will have instant results. All right. Yeah? We look at the opportunities which are there and empower the people directly. Instead of assuming that once we have economic growth at the national level, which has traditionally been the model that is deployed, then you will have a rise in the lives of these people. Actually, the problem we have in this country is misallocation of resources. Misallocation of resources. You have economic growth, but this money ends up in opportunities for the ruling elite only, not the rural folk or the poor folk within the slums. And that is why I want to adapt a different model. I want to see how to translate an increase, to get an increase in the standards of the living of the people through direct empowerment.
Let's engage in another question here. There's one, I think, the issue of housing, you had addressed this, but then the question goes is, what is his housing agenda for Kibra, which is different and better than what the Honorable Raila Odinga did? That is another one. Then there's another question here. There is also a lot of unemployment issues in Kibra. What is his goal? I think some of the issues that you have addressed there. I think there's another one here. Drug abuse and crime is a big issue. What is his agenda on that?
You see, drug and substance abuse is an output of some cause. We don't want to address the symptom. We really need to address the what? The cause. The cause is lack of opportunities for our youth. This is what we should be addressing. And that's why I'm coming with the youth empowerment approach. You see, you cannot address issues on the face value. You need really, first of all, to determine the strategic issues. If you don't determine the root causes and the strategic issues emanating therefrom, you will be responding to symptoms as opposed to the causes of some of these challenges. So how do we get opportunities for our youth? Even when it comes to insecurity, we really have to adapt a participatory and all-inclusive approach to address the challenge of insecurity, not just in Kibra, but also anywhere else within the country. Insecurity is also a byproduct of lack of opportunities for our people. This is what really we should be addressing. How do we empower our people so that all Kenyans are able to live above the poverty line? This is the question that we need to respond to.
What about the youth that are already into the drugs? You know, how do we do what? How do we rehabilitate them? Do you have a plan for rehabilitation? Because we know in the constituency there's a lot of youth also who have been affected by the same.
You see, I've actually had practical experience in this. I've actually picked in Kibra some boys who are actually turned into criminals and transformed their lives through economic empowerment. People don't become criminals out of choice. They become criminals due to lack of opportunities. They are basically looking for means of living. And this is why they are, they are pursuing the approach of criminality. If we got opportunities for our people, we will be living in a very, very, very free and secure environment.
Tranquil environment.
The problem is lack of opportunities for the people. And this is something that is not just limited to Kibra, but is something that we really need to also elevate at macro level to come up with appropriate responses. How do we empower Kenyans? How do we get Kenyans involved in gainful employment and income generating activities? These are the issues that we need to respond to. So the increased crime rate, drug and substance abuse, to me, are outputs of lack of opportunity. And this is an area I understand very well because I've got extensive experience having developed the strategic plan for the Ministry of Interior, which was then the Ministry of Provincial Administration and Internal Security way back in the year 2008, which actually gave birth to the so-called NACADA.
NACADA.
Yes, yeah, that was an output of a strategic plan I developed for the Ministry of Interior about 11 years ago. And you could see that the challenges that we are facing within the framework of drug and substance abuse is actually as a result of lack of opportunities for our people. That is what we should be responding to.
Now, I want us to shift gears to politics of maybe a national level, if I may say that.
Yes, yes.
The Amani National Congress is on record saying that they will only support amendments to the Constitution if they serve the greater interest of Kenyans.
Yeah.
As a party, as an individual, are you in support of this looming referendum that is coming upon Kenya?
You see, personally, as Eliud Owalo,
yes,
you need to understand me within my own context.
Yes.
I'm somebody who makes independent decisions at all times. One of those independent decisions I've made in the recent past is joining the Amani National Congress Party.
Yes.
Why did I do this? I did this because I thought that the Amani National Congress Party has got an appropriate framework and even ideological orientation that would enable me, if elected member of parliament, to respond effectively to the challenges and needs of the people of Kibra.
All right.
That is one. Two, I'm going to be a legislator, if elected member of parliament. And I've got to pursue that legislative agenda within the ambit and policy framework of the political party that has sponsored me, which is the Amani National Congress Party. And within this party, the official position of the party is that we will support a referendum that responds to the needs of the people. If you ask me, in my own individual capacity, as we speak, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the 2010 Constitution. Our problem is implementation levels, largely. Today, a substantial proportion of Kenyans don't even comprehend the Constitution itself. That is a missing link. Because we developed the Constitution, Kenyans were not adequately sensitized.
They don't understand.
They don't even understand it.
Now
they
we're
don't
telling
even
them to
understand
change
it.
it.
I'm telling you, it's a very, very unfortunate situation that certain governors, sitting governors today, don't even understand their roles as governors. That is how low we have gone as a, yes, that is how low, it's a sad situation, how low we have gone as Kenyans. So the challenge we have is implementation of the 2010 Constitution, both in terms of the structures which were proposed and put in place, but also the leadership to facilitate implementation of this Constitution at various levels.
If they don't understand the Constitution themselves, then
how do they implement it? How do they implement it? The truth is, and I want to repeat, that some governors don't even understand their role. They think their role is to be lining up at the treasury looking for resources, to go and misuse down at the lower level. That is not really the role of a governor. A governor who understands his role must first of all understand that the amount of money that they are going to get from the exchequer is like a drop in the ocean compared to what a county needs, to facilitate its development agenda based on the county integrated development plans that have been developed. And this problem is not just limited to the governors. It is translated downwards to the lowest level. The problem of leadership, the quality of leaders that we elect. In fact, one of the things I'm struggling with even today, even in this Kibra parliamentary by-elections, is the caliber of people that some of these political parties have put forward for Kenyans, for the people of Kibra to contend. You see, leadership is a serious issue.
Yes.
And the role of a legislator is a serious issue. Yeah? Let us run away from this notion that a political party should front an individual that is going to dance to the whims of the political leadership within that party. The so-called loyalty. Yeah? We need actually people who think progressively and people who can also be allowed to exercise some level of independence. Yeah? So anyway, this was outside the constitution. I want to come back to your question.
To this issue, yeah.
Personally, as Eliud Owalo, I've seen the Punguza Mzigo proposals.
Which has flopped?
Largely, yes. I'm waiting to see the proposals being put forward. The official proposals, not what is being, but the official proposals being put forward through the BBI initiative. At that point in time, I'll be able to make independent decisions and also give my suggestions to my party on this issue. Okay? But from what I know, the official position within the NC party as of today is that not just limited to the constitution, that the party will at all times, under the able leadership of Musalia Mudavadi, take positions that address the challenges and, of course, responsive to the needs of the Kenyan people.
There has been a change of approach, and this one I'm quoting actually, the Secretary General to your party, who said that the ANC no longer supported the deal reached in 2017 with partners Orange Democratic Movement, Ford Kenya, Wiper, and Chama Cha Mashinani to expand the executive. Why the change?
You see, I'm not the party spokesman. That one you can wait for Barack, call him here, and he will articulate the party position. I'm not a party political. I'm an ordinary life member. I'm a life member of the party.
Yes.
And but my personal position is that constitutional change should be responsive to the needs of the people. It's not just a question of expanding the executive. We are actually looking for quick fixes. Yeah. It's not a question of expanding the executive. Why should always every other time we think of changing our structures, we think of expanding the executive? That means we are creating positions for people. Our problem.
They say it's inclusivity.
No. We can actually have inclusivity within the ambit and framework of the current constitution. We can.
Then why change it?
At all levels. At all levels.
Why change
these
it?
Are some of the
why
issues
is everybody trying to change it? Then?
These are some of the issues that personally I'm grappling with. That not just the change of the constitution, at any given point in time as leaders, we should be taking positions, whether they are legal, whether they are policy positions, that are responsive to the needs of the people. Yeah. But if we are changing the constitution personally, to create positions for individuals, personally as Eliud Owalo, count me out of it. I will not be part of that.
You're not interested?
No, I'm not interested because it's not helping the people. Yeah. Let me tell you something. As an individual, I'm not even going for this Kibra parliamentary race seat to satisfy some personal aspirations. That I do in the private sector, and I'm comfortable. I want to offer responsive and servant leadership to the people. So, in short, to answer your question, let me wait for the proposals of the BBI to be put on the table. At that point in time, I'll be able to adequately and comprehensively respond and also take a position on this.
Maybe before we finally end this, Mheshimiwa, because we've got some few minutes left to do this.
Yes, please.
Your message to the public in Kibra, because this is a very critical time for them, and the Kibra by-election, by chance, I don't know if it's by chance or for some reason, it has become one of I would say, most defining moments for Kenyan politics at this time, and that it's taken a completely different twist from what Kenyans actually did expect and have seen in other political races. What would be a message to the electorate in Kibra constituency?
First of all, I want to appeal to all the political players and parties in this contest to create an enabling environment for the people of Kibra to be able to comprehensively evaluate the track records, the caliber, the competencies, and the agenda of these candidates so that they are able to make informed decisions. So what am I saying in short? Let us have peaceful campaigns to create that environment for the people of Kibra to make informed decisions. That is one. It's fundamental to me. Two, I want to appeal to the people of Kibra. This is a defining moment, and this is their moment. Let them elect a leadership that will facilitate real change in their lives. Somebody with not just an enviable track record, but also somebody with a feasible agenda moving forward. Personally, as Eliud Owalo, I believe I fit the bill. And this is why I've subjected my candidature to the good people of Kibra, so that they evaluate me based on my track record in that constituency, what I stand for today, and my agenda moving forward. If they elect Eliud Owalo, I believe the people of Kibra shall have elected an agent of real change. And my only pledge to the people is that I'll stand by the people of Kibra at all times, under all circumstances. I've left what I was doing before to offer myself for this, so that I can be counted one day that I facilitated real change in the lives of the people. So my pledge to the people is that if they elect me their member of parliament in Kibra, I will stand with them at all times. I promise to be their shield and defender. Thank you.
Before we finally finish, the shoes that you are going in there to fill are the shoes of the late Ken Okoth, may his soul rest in peace, and Ken's record of work in Kibra is lauded. There's no question about that.
I'm not going to Kibra to fill somebody else's shoes. I want to wear my own shoes. I know the size of my shoes, and I think I know what to do. Yeah.
But Mr. Owalo, what I'm trying to put across is this, that Ken did really a good work in Kibra, which we cannot overlook that. As much as we are from a different ideology and a different candidate from a different party, but then the truth is we saw what he did with education, especially in Kibra.
I must say, and I've said this before, that Ken Okoth was perhaps one of the most industrious members of parliament we have witnessed in this country over the past 10 years. And where he had got good projects, especially the education sector, I will pursue them to a logical conclusion. Service to the people must actually be beyond transitional changes in leadership. Where Ken had got good programs, I'll continue with them.
Should continue.
Yes, pursue them to a logical conclusion, okay? But I will also come up with my own initiatives to augment the work that has been done so far.
Yes.
And also come up with viable and feasible programs and initiatives in areas where I feel there are gaps. Yeah.
That's very understandable. And actually, that's where I was going, because most leaders, whenever they take from a predecessor, what they do is they bundle up everything, including what is
that
good.
Is negative.
And that's the danger of the kind of politics that we've witnessed
that is
in our
lopsided thinking. That is negative and lopsided thinking. I
so
don't want to be
should be rest assured that the good programs that were benefiting the Mwananchi will continue.
I don't want to be parochial. I'm not egocentric in my approach. Okay? So any viable programs which were there in place, I will continue with them. But I will also come up with a rapid agenda that can give us certain, enable us as a people of Kibra, take advantage of some low-hanging fruits by way of tangible projects that can translate into an improvement in the standards of the living of the people, which were actually outside what our late MP did. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. Well, viewer, we have come to the end of this segment. Today, our guest in studio, none other than the ANC, that's Amani National Congress candidate for the Kibra by-election, Eliud Owalo. And he's very articulate in his plans for education, in his plan for employment, and in his plan also for the physical infrastructure that in Kibra. Of course, we know that Kibra has been for a long time an area that has been experiencing very many difficulties, lack of sanitation facilities, if I may call them that, lack of road, I would say, access. And every time there's a fire that breaks out in Kibra, because also of the kind of housing that is there, housing also he has a plan for housing and all that. So it's a matter of wait and see, and I don't know, but I would like to have Mr. Eliud Owalo back here again, but then if I get a candidate, because according to his own words, the candidates in Kibra doesn't really match the caliber. But I would really like to have you together with one other candidate, Mheshimiwa, so that we can just listen from you.
And I'll be willing, so long as we can get involved in some meaningful discourse here.
Sure.
I'll be willing to come back here.
Thank you. Well, viewer, you have heard for yourself. That's a promise that I hope to keep myself by bringing in another candidate and inviting Mheshimiwa also to come and just elaborate on his agenda for the Kibra people. Well, viewer, that brings us to the end of our episode or our program this morning. If you have any comments, suggestions, or opinion, our SMS line is 21144. You can keep the conversation going on our Twitter. That Twitter handle is #GBS Morning Extra. And for now, from me also, it's bye-bye for now. My colleague Kevin Nyariki is coming up next with the sports news. For me, it's bye-bye for now.